Welcome back, class. Welcome to our financial management session, capital busting. Uh, Prior to starting capital busting, let's have an overview of one of our previous classes, which were on financial decision. If you recall, in our earlier lessons of business finance, we discussed about three financial decisions named as investment decision, financing decision, and dividend decision. We were taught that in investment decision, a finance manager decides about when to invest, how to invest, where to invest, and either this investment will bring any fruit or not. And similarly, once he is sure that I should go with this investment, which can be either a new product, new plant, new machinery, or any such thing, the second question he encounter or confront is that from where he or she should generate the fund. There are few sources of funds which actually we have studied in our previous classes in last few weeks that were about cost of capital. The sources of funds are either that the firm can issue new stocks, firm can knock the bank for loan, firm can issue debentures, or can use internally generated fund known as retained earning. And finally, he encountered with a decision that either to pay a dividend or to retain it. Since we discussed in our cost of capital chapter that retained earning are cheapest source of finance, and meanwhile, in our working capital, we discussed that retained earning can increase the liquidity of the firm. It definitely is one of the requirements for a smooth functioning firm. So, based upon the cost and benefit associated with holding the cash, a manager strive for an optimum cash level. So these are the three decisions which our finance manager is supposed to make, or he or she actually make during his or her time as a finance manager. Now coming to the very first decision, investment decision. In investment decision, the finance management course or the financial management course introduce you with the many tools and techniques, such as previously the time value of money, where we try to understand the impact of time on the value of the money. And that concept also introduced us to a new thing, compounding frequency, effective interest rate, and so on and so. So these were the few tools which finance manager was using for investment decision. And now we are on another tool, which is capital busting. Capital busting is one of the tools for investment decision. Okay. Prior to moving further, let us discuss what is capital budgeting. I will start with the definition of capital busting. Capital budgeting is the planning process used to determine whether an organization long-term investments such as new machinery, replacement of machinery, new plants, new products, and research and development projects are worth the funding of cash. So, simply saying, capital budgeting techniques helps a manager in deciding that either a firm should pursue for a new plant, either firm should replace the existing machinery, either firm should purchase a new machinery for expansion, a firm should offer a new product, or even should invest for a new product development. So whenever a firm encountered with any of such decision, firms usually go for implication or application of capital busting techniques. Now, let's have discussed when actually we need capital busting, or what are the decisions where we need capital busting. Remember, capital busting cannot be applied on all investment decisions. There are certain thresholds or there are certain benchmarks which an investment must qualify and then we can apply capital busting. For example, the first one is large investment. The capital busting technique we are applying, or the investment where we are applying capital busting technique must be a large investment, must have volume. It is a subjective thing, but we will read it together with our next 4 points, then we will be able to understand it. It must be irreversible in nature. So irreversible nature means that, such as if you are investing $1 billion into gold, it's an irreversible nature. You can sell it as it is. It is a liquid asset. But if you're spending that $1 billion for the installation of new plant or new factory, that is not irreversible. That is one-time investment. Or you are offering a new product, so you have to bear certain loss, or you have to earn certain benefit. Difficulties of investment decision. Now here you can actually raise a question, sir. Investing in gold is also difficult because it is highly volatile. Investing in stocks is highly risky because highly difficult because they are volatile. But read it together with the first two. They must be large and they must be irreversible. Fourthly, they must have a long-term impact on profitability. And finally, we use them to avoid underinvestment and overinvestment. Here, let me clarify, capital busting techniques do not actually give you 100% accurate information. It doesn't mean that while applying capital busting, there is no concept of underinvestment or overinvestment. There will be. But these techniques will bring us closer to the actual figure, and we can avoid that deviation from the standard, and we can come closer to that standard or the mean. So these are the 5 hallmarks or prerequisites which must be there for an investment to be evaluated through capital busting. Now, the methods of capital busting. The first method of capital busting is traditional method. Or the first category of methods of capital busting is traditional method. Basically, it is divided into 2 categories, the traditional method and the modern method, or the discounted cash flow. Under the traditional method, we have payback period and accounting rate of return. While under discounted cash flow model methods or modern method, we have net present value method, profitability index method, and internal rate of return method. Now, definitely there can be a question in your mind that why we have so many methods. There can be many. It is a valid question, and let me answer it in a way. First, every investment has some unique properties or uniqueness embedded in it. Secondly, regarding any investment, we will pick or choose any of these methods based upon the information available and information required for decision making. Let me share an example with you. For example, a CEO addressing with other C's, for example, marketing, operation, and finance. So while discussing with these chiefs or C's, he's convinced that they are going to offer a new product. And eventually he started addressing his CFO that please tell me when I will be able to get my investment back, or when actually my firm will be able to recover its initial investment. By picking any of these 5 methods, the CFO abruptly replies, sir, 3.5 years. And then he say, it will be profitable now? Maybe he will choose another method to answer it. Then he may ask, what is the impact of time value of money here? For example, if you are saying that after 5 years I will be able to get 30% return, but does do that actually will be adjusted with time value? And then answering such question, that CFO can pick any of the method based upon the available information and based upon the required output information. So he can pick and choose any of them. So here we should be really clear that all these 5 methods are applicable, and none of them are outdated or obsolete. And yes, there are few which are robust, but they are robust with their available information. For example, payback period has its limitation. To address the limitation, we have accounting rate of return. To address the limitation of accounting rate of return, we may have a net present value, and to address him, the profitability index, and finally the internal rate of return. And there can be certain limitation now, and we must discover a few more methods. So class, this is a short introduction to capital budgeting. In our next class, we will try to complete the traditional method, which are payback period and accounting rate of return. Till then, stay blessed, take care.